up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your Week 6. These are the noon games on Saturday. You got Florida Gators at Texas A&M. Florida, they had a nice game against South Carolina offensively. They beat them 38-24. Kyle Trask's on a Heisman pace. 268 passing, 4 touchdowns, an interception that should not have been an interception. Go look at that. They only rushed for 80 yards, so maybe they can get that going. Defensively, they did have 4 sacks in that game. Texas A&M, like I thought, they got blown out against Alabama, 52-24. Kellen Mond had a decent game statistically, 318 passing, 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Ania Smith, 6 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They did have 450 yards, but they turned it over twice. It's kind of interesting. You got Kyle Trask, the quarterback for the Gators, and Kyle Pitts, the tight end for the Gators, who have been having awesome seasons so far, even through 2 games. Trask has 10 touchdown passes. Pitts has 6 of them, and they're playing at Texas A&M, which is Kyle Field. So I think A&M, they can move it offensively, and our defense has been suspect. I say our, I'm a Gator fan. Defense has been suspect, but so far their offense has been unstoppable, and A&M, they showed they could stop Bama. So I'm going to go Florida to get a win here. It'll be kind of close, but I'll go Florida here. All right, big game in the ACC. Virginia Tech and North Carolina, both ranked. Virginia Tech beat Duke 38-31. Braxton Burmeister, 9 of 25 passing, 163, a touchdown, a pick, plus 54 rushing yards and 2 on the ground. Khalil Herbert, grad transfer from Kansas, 208 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. They ran for 324. They did have 3 turnovers. They can't do that against a good North Carolina offense. They had 7 sacks on their defense. Emmanuel Belmar had 3 of them. Then you got North Carolina. North Carolina had a good, nice win against Boston College, 26-22. Sam Howell, 225, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Running back Michael Carter ran for 121. They had 10 penalties. They got to clean that up. They had 3 sacks there, and they had a pick 2. So Boston College went for 2 late in the game to try to tie it, and North Carolina picked it off, returned it for 2. This will be, I think, a really interesting game. I was high in North Carolina coming in. They are 2-0. They struggle a little bit more than I thought. Virginia Tech, they've had like so many people inactive, and they've still looked great. I'll go Virginia Tech here, but this should be a really, really interesting ACC game. All right, now the Red River rivalry between the Texas Longhorns and Oklahoma. Both are subpar this year. Texas lost last week to TCU. Oklahoma has lost their last 2 games to Kansas State and Iowa State. Neither team can play defense. Both teams can play offense. This might be first to 60 wins. Texas lost to TCU, but Ellinger still had 4 touchdowns. They had 12 penalties. Spencer Rattler had 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing. This is tough. I'm going to say Oklahoma avoids a 3 straight loss, and I'm going to go give them the win in this. But that will actually be a really fun game offensively to watch. Another fun game to watch, it's under the radar. Nobody's really talking about it, but the next one is Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Both 3-0 out of the Sun Belt. Louisiana is actually ranked. Coastal Carolina destroyed Kansas, a Big 12 team, a couple of weeks ago. This will be a really interesting game. Coastal Carolina beat Arkansas State last week 52-23. Grayson McCall has been on fire. Quarterback, 322 passing, 4 touchdowns. They put up 539 yards. They turn over 3 times. They can't do that against a good Louisiana team. They had 3 sacks defensively and forced 2 turnovers. Louisiana, their last game was a hard-fought win against a good Georgia Southern team. They beat them 20-18. Levi Lewis, 290 passing, a touchdown, a pick. I'm going to actually go with Coastal Carolina here. Louisiana Lafayette, is good, but they struggled against Georgia State. They had to come back to win that. They struggled against Georgia Southern. They had to come back to win that. Now, Georgia State and Georgia Southern look to be pretty good teams, but Coastal Carolina, they've just been on fire. I'm going to go Coastal Carolina there, but that should be a really, really good matchup, under the radar matchup. All right, you got the UL Monroe Warhawks against the Liberty Flame. ULM, they lost in a close game to Georgia Southern, 35-30. Colby Suits, 334 passing, 2 touchdowns, plus 51 rushing. Liberty beat North Alabama 28-7. They didn't have their starter Malik Willis. He was hurt, but Chris Ferguson stepped in decently, had 3 touchdown passes. Joshua Mack ran for 130. They ran for 250. The team defensively, they had 6 sacks and forced 3 turnovers in that game. ULM has shown they can move it a little bit. Liberty, they've had a good offense the last couple of years. If Malik Willis plays, I think this should be a big Liberty win. Even if he doesn't, I think it might be kind of close, but I'm going to give Liberty a little bit of an edge to win here. All right, another big ACC game. You got NC State and Virginia. NC State had a really awesome win against a ranked Pitt team. They beat them with 23 seconds to go. They beat them 30-29. Devin Leary, 336 passing, 4 touchdown passes. Wide receiver Emeka Muzi, 7 catches, 101, and 2 touchdowns. They did have 11 penalties. They want to clean that up against a pretty decent Virginia team. Virginia, they did lose to Clemson 41-23, but they were only down 27-17 at one point, and Virginia was driving. They ended up throwing an interception that could have gotten the game a lot closer. Armstrong, though, had a pretty good game otherwise. 270 passing, 3 touchdowns, plus the 2 picks. Plus, he did add 89 rushing yards himself. They had over 400 yards of offense. I think this game should be a pretty good game. Pretty close back and forth. It's kind of hard to pick this one. I'm kind of leaning NC State just because of what I like, but I'll go NC State there, but this really could go either way. All right, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, 2 0-2 teams. South Carolina lost to UF 38-24. Colin Hill had a good game, 212 passing, 2 touchdowns. Running back Kevin Harris ran for 100 yards and a touchdown and had a touchdown reception. Shai Smith, 12 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. They forced 2 turnovers in that game. They held their own pretty well against Florida early. Vanderbilt got smacked by LSU 41-7. Ken Seals 11-25, 113, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I think South Carolina should be able to win their first game of the season here against Vanderbilt. It'll be kind of close to South Carolina. They've looked good on offense, but they're not world beaters. But they should at least get I can see like a 31-17 win, something like that here. All right, Duke and Syracuse. Duke, they lost in a close game to Virginia Tech 38-31. Chase Bryce, 271, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Defensively, they forced 3 turnovers and had a block punt return for a touchdown there. Syracuse, their last game a couple of weeks ago was 37-20 win over Georgia Tech. Tommy DeVito, 194 passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Running back Sean Tucker, 112 rushing, 2 touchdowns. Defensively, he had 5 turnovers and a pick 6. I think this could be kind of close, but I think Syracuse, they found their offense a little bit a couple of weeks ago against Georgia Tech, and I think they'll keep that going with a win over Duke. All right, the final game for the noon games. Citadel and Army. Army destroyed Abilene Christian 55-23. Jamel Jones at quarterback passed for 52 yards and a touchdown, ran for 138 and 2 touchdowns. Tyrell Robinson ran for 126. They ran for 441 yards in that triple option offense. Defensively, they had 4 sacks in that game. I think they should not have any trouble with the Citadel. So there's my picks and the breakdowns for this week's game. Check out my 3:30 games, a big one between Tennessee and Georgia. Who gets that? Peace.